Hey YouTube, welcome to another Shark video. Here I got this from storage. I had a old gaming computer that I had built with the plexiglass, the LED, all the fancy video cards, and all the dual processors, motherboard. I mean, I had the works back in the day. I remember I had a bunch of computers and I took it off, and you can see it has some dust on it. So I'm gonna be opening it up and cleaning it. I mean, that thing is chromed. I mean, that is crazy. That's how much money I had spent on this stuff before. It's ridiculous. Anyhow, this baby right here, all these spaghetti wires, we're gonna turn them into a nice one for the printers. Right here is showing us 28 amps, which is great. And if you see in my other videos, you'll see that my printer is using about maximum amperage when everything's running at full speed. It's about 18 amps continuous until the heat bed warms up and the extruder is heating up, and then it fluctuates really low. So if I'm using 18 amps, this is capable of handling 28 amps. I got 10 amps to spare, and that's with I could add a bunch of other stuff to it, which is great. You tell me the yellow wire is 28 amps output, and that's really good. So next, this is a 500 watt. It's perfect. So I'm going to open this up and try to clean this up and see how it looks. Another thing is some of the devices, the items we have in our printers, they use 5 volts for the auto level sensor, and this one has it. Our red wire here shows us a positive 5 volts. White one is negative 5 volts. We don't worry about that one. That's a whole different video. So that's great. I got the yellow 12 volts, 28 amps, and the red one 5 volts. So I'll probably be using those two right there. Okay, we're gonna open this up. And it says warranty void if removed. Well, this is like 20 years old, I believe. So, who cares? Let's remove it. Look at that. Look at that. I mean, look at the size of those heat sinks. Okay, here is another power supply that I have. And this thing is so light, it's ridiculous. I mean, it doesn't say where it's made exactly, but this is so light. I mean, this one is capable of 25 amps DC output, so this probably be better than the power supplies that the Annette comes with anyways. But this is so light. I mean, and it has a power switch on there. So light. I mean, can you get both of them together? Check this out. If I'm going to pick this up, I mean, I don't know if you could see the weight. I mean, it's crazy. It's really heavy. I should get my scale and show you. This weighs about 5 times what this weighs. That's how strong this puppy is. Okay. Now, you see this spaghetti here? We're not going to use all these wires. That's the bad news. The good news is I'm gonna eliminate all these wires, and if I need more wires for anything on the 3D printer, which I always do, heck, I got plenty here, plenty of spares. So that's a good thing. Let me just clean this up a little bit. Alrighty then. There are a lot of wires here. Another note to this ATX Power Supplies, they're also good for RC battery chargers, like the LiPo batteries and nickel metal hydro batteries and NiCads, all that stuff. This power supplies will work for that, to run those chargers. This is probably 14-16 gauge wire, but this is true wire, none of this new crap wires they say it's 14 is actually 18 gauge. They just put a big cover on it and hide it, and I don't know, I hate when they do that, especially when I'm doing sound systems. The 4 gauge wire is 8 gauge actually, so I buy welding wire when I do sound systems. This power supply also has a built-in switch right here, which is kind of cool. I don't need to add additional stuff to it. And this fan has a LED and lights up, so it's kind of cool looking. This puppy here has this fan here and one here too, so it has enough cooling built in, and it's heavy. One thing I want to mention on power supplies ATX, they have a signal from the motherboard telling them to turn on, and older ones, I'm not gonna go by years, they actually have another wire that's like a negative voltage or positive voltage, 5 volts, that well, it kind of sits dormant but on. There's different configurations on them to turn them on, and you probably something need a resistor load, so it'll at least read something, or else it will not power up. But on the newer models, you need your basic, most common ones are, if you look here, you have a green wire. That green wire, I want to say most of the power supplies, the newer ones, all you gotta do is put a jumper, like I did there, from the green wire to a black wire. All the black ones are negative, and that will actually turn on. I already plugged it in. I plugged in that fan to the power of it. Let's turn it on, and there it is. It's on. Let's see. There it is, 20.6 amps at 12.7 volts. Voltage is not dropped. Can't get no more resistance than a bunch of lights. Okay, as you can see, you have a lot of wires. Don't be scared. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna cut this about a foot away. Cut everything a foot away, and that way it'd be easier to segregate all the wires together, same color. And I believe if I wanted to get real crazy with this, I could, on the back of the board, I could unsolder the blacks per se and make it one big wire. You can't see it obviously because you gotta take the screws off, but or inside here you could gather all the blacks and put it to one thick wire, heavy gauge, like a 12 gauge wire, even 10 gauge wire, which is overkill, but it'll be sufficient to carry all the amperage you need. And you can do that for a wire, so you have one for the yellow, one for the red, one for the black, one for the orange. We're not gonna use the orange. Red, you might use it if you got other devices that require 5 volts, which I know some of us do, but in my case, for my printer, I do not. So here we go. Here's that green wire, here's that brown and orange wire, and the gray one. This gray one is actually a positive voltage that you can hook up to an LED on the positive side, and then the other side of the LED to the negative side. And when this is powered on, the LED will turn on. You don't need it, but you can use that gray one for that reason if you like. Let's see. This purple one, I don't recall what that one's for, but you don't need it either. And there's a lot of YouTube videos out there that has all this information and more. Right now I'm just going to show you how to set this up for a 3D printer or just for 12 volts power supply. Older models, they need you need a 10 watt 1.5 ohm resistor hooked up from a red wire to a ground wire. So you will do this. You grab your resistor and you hook one lead to each wire, and this will actually stabilize the voltage on the power supply. You can see all the wires here. They are all bundled up, and down here you'll see all the orange wires come together from one same spot, all the red ones from the same spot, all the black ones from the same spot. So you could, if you want to clean this up, you could cut this bunch here, cut them, and then put same thing with the red, same thing with the black, same thing with the yellow, to have one wire per bunch. And I mean, it would be nice if you get them color coded, you know, one black one, one red one, one orange, one yellow. But you don't have to do this. This is just for this video purposes only. So now to trim this up and make it cleaner. And here you have it. Here's the green wire with the black one, and it's soldered right there. So all I do is put the shrink tubing on it, and right there's the center. And like I say, if your power supply doesn't have a switch on the back to manually turn it on and off, then you can use this green wire and a black wire and put a switch there and put it mounted on the switch on the box somewhere externally and turn it on and off that way. But since mine has one, I don't need to worry about it. I just solder it, be done with it. Also here you can see I cut half or more of the black wires and then I put shrink tubing on it. That way it doesn't hit anything or touch anything, and they're all in one place stable. And this amount of wires, I got 2, 4, 6 of black ones. That's plenty enough for my ground as my source power for whatever I want to turn on. Same thing with the red. I got 5 of those red ones. I'm not even gonna use the red, but I'm still gonna have them there. I'm gonna do the same thing with the yellow and the orange.